quick reaction to some of the recruiting news that's happening. I'm Zach Blackerby, Daryl Dapprich, of course, with Locked on Auburn. Obviously, we woke up Saturday being very excited. Yes, Auburn football is back. But, I mean, national recruiting analysts, saw Tom Loy, we saw Steve Wiltfong drop some Fong bombs Saturday. Not only Naheem Offord, top player in the state of Alabama, currently committed to Ohio State, but also Melendez, a talented linebacker committed to Miami, both putting in projections for them to flip to the Auburn Tigers. Oh, yeah, and both of them are here today.
That's the great part of it. I mean, that's the part that makes it look like it's an obvious connect-the-dots scenario. Mm-hmm. Melendez is a kid that Auburn really wanted, and DJ Durkin wanted a few months ago before he committed to Miami. Physical specimen, very, very physical linebacker.
Right.
Probably the most physical linebacker that would be in our class if he flips. And then Offord, a guy that, what did you free say? I'm not losing him. He's going to cut. We're getting him. He said that months ago. 5-star, not only the best player in the state of Alabama, let's not downplay that he's also a 5-star. He gets crystal ball, and within an hour of each other.
He'd also be the highest-rated player on defense in Auburn recruiting history.
That is just insane.
Let's say that again. He'd be the highest-rated player in the history of Auburn recruiting on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's tremendous.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. And we talk about, we'll see what happens with the Deuce Knight drama. And, Auburn has clearly been not afraid to go after Alabama commits. But, going up to Ohio State now and saying, we don't care that you're committed to Ohio State, a college football playoff lock. We want you. We're going to come get you. How many times have we said this over and over and over again?
Offord is the kind of player that you normally see the elite programs in the country get as a corner. You know how some of those, when Alabama used to get them, or Ohio State used to get them, or Florida State used to get those kids that were the number 1 or number 2 rated corner in the country. A guy that you know is going to play at the next level and can play as a freshman and lock down one side of the field. That's how good he is. The fact that he's an in-state kid just adds a little cherry on top. Again, I'm connecting the dots. It's not a coincidence to me that both of these crystal balls from two reputable guys that have a phenomenal percentage. Tom Loy's nailed it.
He's Charlie Five's dad at this point.
He is his dad, and there's a nice meme of him holding Charlie Five as a baby.
Yep.
I think that
raised him as his own.
And the fact they're on campus Saturday and that these crystal balls come while they're on campus, come on. It's hard not to read between the lines on that.
Yeah, it's really hard not to. And it's really hard not to get overexcited with this. But, yes, it's the start of the season, which obviously we're excited about seeing the debut of Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, KLS. The list goes on and on of all these new guys. But it's hard not to think about the future that's also being represented, some on the field with your Colemans and these talented freshmen, but also the guys in the stands that are committed to other powerful schools, highly established schools, and of course already guys who are committed to Auburn's class. But it's almost symbolic in a way, where it's like, it's the start of the season, but this also does feel like it's part of this new era of Auburn football under Hugh Freeze.
I've said, and you've agreed, look at these kids that were committing before they got a game day experience.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, Zach. When you get a chance to get here and get on campus and go through Tiger Walk and watch the way the fans react. It's a night game, the swag surf, the light show, all that.
Right.
It makes a difference when kids are committing without a game day experience. Now you get them on campus and they get to see what it's all about today. Even against an underrated opponent, it doesn't matter. It's never about who Auburn plays for the fans to show up and show out.
It's about Auburn.
It's about Auburn. And that's what they will get, I think, and really get that feeling and get that understanding today. And I think that's why there's crystal balls for both.
I guess so. But also, you have to assume that it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
You have to assume that they're talking to somebody either on Auburn's staff or the player or somebody on Miami staff or Ohio State staff where these kids are currently committed. It's got to be deeper than that. It's not just because they're coming today.
I think that could help close, I think, in some scenarios. But you're right. What I'm saying is it's a big deal that they're, rumored to be committing before they even get that experience. I think that cements it in a lot of situations.
Sure, yeah.
I think in a situation like Offord, you look at Scott, who's probably moved on, who's the one corner. I'm sure Auburn's coaching staff is telling him, hey, look, you have an opportunity to come in and play right away and take over that vacant spot that Scott will leave and be opposite Can Lee and two former Ohio State commits. The symmetry in that is beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, it's really hard not to think about, okay, Can Lee, and then Naeem Offord, and then after that, like you got Jalen Crawford.
You got Antonio Kite.
Antonio Kite seems like he'll probably be more stable. J.C. Hart, one of the winners of fall camp. It's just the future of that DB room. It seems so special and it's so exciting. But to me, this kind of continues the trend of like, okay, all the momentum that's happened with Deuce Knight, now all the momentum with Naeem Offord, then all the momentum now with Christian Melendez. Christian Melendez?
Is it Elijah or Christian?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's bad. That's a bad look. But obviously, you heard so much stuff with Melendez back when Auburn was really pursuing him and Herbert Scroggins, the edge rusher from Savannah, and then both of them, like, it went like radio silent, like you didn't hear anything. But that goes back to the staff just not giving up. Doesn't matter if you commit elsewhere or if you kind of, take a step away from the staff. And I think that's something that Auburn fans need to be reminded of over and over and over again.
One of the things that's a great indicator of how effective you are recruiting is not just class ranking. Go back after you get your class signed and look how many kids were flips.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a certain percentage of flips, it really is a strong indicator of how successful and just persistent you are as a recruiter too. I know that a lot of schools that are very successful have a 15-20% percentage of kids that recruit are kids that committed elsewhere and ultimately flip. I think that's also a sign or an indicator of when you're getting to a certain level from a recruiting standpoint.
We almost saw a wreck of between a golf cart and an F-150. That would have been insane.
I know who'd have won that battle.
I'm there with you.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's like Eugene Asante going up against, some Alabama A&M ball carrier later today. We'll see. But final thoughts on this news. To me, I think it solidifies, and Kyle Brush, Charlie Five, and I, we did a show on his show, the Top Button Podcast, on Friday, where it's like Steve Wiltfong put out a tweet saying like Auburn's not going for just the top 5 class, the top 3 class, they're going for the top class in 2025. And it's like if the Deuce Knight stuff comes to fruition, as well as these two guys.
And Babs, the offensive tackle.
Yeah, just a trickle-down effect of that. Does it help you with a Caleb Cunningham? That's the name that people keep bringing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, that gets you close. That gets you really, really close. So, I mean, to me, like, this morning's predictions, and they're just predictions. They haven't flipped or anything like that. But it keeps Auburn alive in that number 1 class in the country conversation. And at this point in the year, that's all you can ask for.
And, guys like Wilfong and Lloyd don't just make those predictions based on gut feeling or, hey, this is what I think is going to happen. There's intel. There's solid intel that they know, that they're privy to as to why they made that decision. And the same thing with the Deuce Knight. I know people are getting a little bit skittish about that, a little bit nervous. Just relax. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And there may be some circumstances. It may pop this weekend. It may be next week. It's just one of those deals. I get it. As the longer it drags on, people start to get PTSD about it. But Auburn's in a real good shot, and everybody has predicted him.
Yeah, I'm a week away. I'm a week away from being like, okay, what's going on here?
Right.
What's going on here?
Yep.
So we'll see what happens with that. Final predictions for Alabama A&M?
55-10, and I think Auburn's going to play a lot of people as early as the third quarter.
Okay, I think I said 45-10 earlier in the week. That may be too low, but that's what I'm going to go with. We'll see. It's going to be a big part. Game flow is so much of that. Game flow is so much of that. So how much do they slow down in the second half? We'll see. All right, this has been a quick special edition, tailgate edition of Locked On Auburn. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time.